He never tells the 100% truth, and I let her do that.
Okay.
But I texted her the other day. I said, Jess, man, and I got kind of pissed. I said, you got to get more going on in your career so they can start bringing up my name in your interview.
Wow.
Because when I come, Netflix special, his book, you know what I'm saying, this going on, that going on. We don't got to down each other. That's been 5 years ago.
Right.
If that's the main question in your interview, well, we got to put some work in.
Right.
Let me be real with you guys. Let me be real with you. Like, I want to do a little bit more research behind the scenes. I'm gonna have an unpopular opinion here, yeah. Kountry Wayne's actually a funny guy. I like his content, like his skits and stuff, and he does a lot of work in the black community in terms of paying actors who get onto his stuff. So I'm not gonna get him onto that. But in that little section here, he talks about how Jess, needs to let it go, and she doesn't need to keep downing him. The few videos I've watched, 1 or 2 videos I've watched, she's never actually downed him, I'll be honest with you, like, whilst I believe there's more things that happen in a relationship that may not have been great, and we'll do a deeper dive on that video a little bit later, another time. Listening to her kind of responses, nothing in there was actually her downing him. That's why I was a little bit confused. I was like, when I went to listen to other videos where she kind of spoke about the relationship, she doesn't actually down him. In fact, she says it's one of the best relationships she ever had. So it's like, where's the downing? And see, I want to be honest with you. What it's giving is that when someone's telling the truth, how are we allowed to tell our truth if it involves our exes? Like if somebody hasn't treated you well, like I said, if one of my exes came out and they said, listen, I wasn't treating them correctly, maybe there's some things, what, I'm gonna be honest with you, I wasn't the best, and maybe we can correct 1 or 2 things, but it probably 1 or 2 things, you're absolutely right, I probably wasn't the best, I'll be honest with you, right? But it's like, the negative stuff, when I was listening to her, she doesn't really say anything negative. Now, maybe I haven't watched all of her videos that have been done like that, right? But when I listened to a video that was a thing, she literally was speaking some good things about him, saying it was a best relationship ever since, for her and stuff, and that it's not like it was the worst one ever. She didn't cuss him out. So I don't know. It's a bit weird. Let me show you a little clip, and I'll show you what I mean by this as well, right? So there's a little clip here of Jess talking about the relationship. Listen to this.
Yes, I was. Wayne, I still say to this day that's the best relationship I've ever been in. With certain things. We would still beef about how much we make.
Now, of course, she goes on to describe about the fact that they, had some beef around how much money they would make, and that's where we're going to go a deeper dive. We'll do another video for a deep dive into what actually that meant, because I think that's where a lot of the contention came in their relationship, as well as obviously the lie that was told about him and what position he was, whether he was divorced or not, right? But I think if it's go a little bit deeper here. There's a little bit of a jab here talking about, get some other things to talk about other than the relationship. I want to break down as to why this actually happens, why oftentimes women get given questions about relationships and men get given questions about their achievements, even though both of them were in a relationship. I'm going to go deeper into that. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. We appreciate y'all. Stay locked and stay loaded. We'd love for you guys to stick around and enjoy this content. Don't forget, you can join our membership. It's £1, $1. Supporting the channel. If you haven't done so already, go on and support the channel. We put some great work out there. And also, we've got a Discord. That's a link in the description box. And we have some great merchandise as well. I'm not wearing it because it's not winter time, but you can get yours through the link on the description box as well. We also do BetterHelp as well, a link. Just use LBB91 as a code, and trust me, you can get a discount on that as well. Now, let's get into this because, and I'm using BetterHelp myself, I can't lie to you. Let's get into this because I think this is a real conversation, right? It's a real conversation about this situation. Let's bring that back up again and let's see what he's saying.
You know what I'm saying? Because when Kountry Wayne come, when I go on Good Morning America here, we don't talk about so much before we got to that.
Exactly.
You feel me? I'm like, man, we don't have.
And I was comfortable not talking about it.
Exactly. And I'm like, you can't. It's not working in your favor.
Right.
People go pretend it, but they watching. They see Kountry Wayne is taking care of black people. Movement. Don't let the people fool you.
Right.
They ain't on your side. I'm like, it ain't working. So I was just like, man, a lot of that she talk about, I let it slide, but man, that stuff ain't play out like that, man. You know what I'm saying? I separated from my wife.
Right.
Went and got Jess. You know what I'm saying? And that was it. I started talking to her.
Right.
And I got divorced. My divorce was 45 days.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And me and her started talking. And then all the stuff she talking about on there, cause my baby mama hit me up. She was like, "Can you please ask Jess to stop talking about it?"
Can we be honest as well? What I think is an issue here too is accountability, right? Because the story that's being told is that, you know what, he divorced his wife, whatever. He then went and got Jess. Whilst the story is actually, they actually tell the same story, and I'll play a clip from where Jess talks about them actually dating and stuff, right? He's right. He waited for her. She had a boyfriend. He waited for her to finish the relationship with the boyfriend. They broke up. Then he ended up wanting to come after her, wanted to be in a relationship with her. Fantastic. But when you started a relationship, how did you start? Were you divorced or not? You just said us that your divorce took 4 to 5 days, but were you divorced at the time? Then, not only that, what was the response of the audience? See, you uncovered her by not being divorced. And so now that relationship, while you're talking about, she's telling that story incorrectly, the stories link up. What is the big difference is the fact that, were you divorced at the time when you came after Jess? If you weren't, she wasn't telling a lie. Whether it's 4 to 5 days it's going to take, and if it wasn't going to take 4 to 5 days, you could have waited. If it's 4 to 5 days, whatever, you could have waited, right? So let's play a little bit of kit. We'll have a little bit more conversation.
Shade room.
It's all over the place. Ooh.
And I'm like, you have a wife?
Yes.
You still have a wife? Because he was like, I'm divorced.
Right.
He told me that. He told me he was married before and that he was divorced already. But he really was, it wasn't final. He was in the process. And I understand why you lied. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You didn't want to.
So clearly, obviously, when it got to the situation, you didn't tell her at the time that you were divorced, okay? You didn't tell her at the time that you were divorced. And so what happened is, at the time you told her you were divorced, but your divorce was still pending. So now she gets uncovered in public because people are like, she's a homewrecker because now you're getting a divorce. And now people are finding out you're getting a divorce. They're going to put 2 and 2 together and be like, oh, it must be the fact that she home wrecked. That's why there's a problem. And that's why I said I have an unpopular opinion, because I feel like you've uncovered her. By you not stating it correctly, by saying, hey, I'm still pending, then that leaves it on her to want to still engage with you. And then she can't complain about people cussing her out. She can only cuss out the audience. She can cuss you out because you didn't tell the truth. Like, if you told the truth, she can only stand upon what she heard from you and can't go, no, because you know. Because you know. Right? Because you know. So that's also important as well. You know what I mean? That's really important that part is also exposed and conversed, because the next part, I want to show this part also too, is what actually happened to Jess, and again, why it got to this point.
I just don't respect that.
Right.
Just keep, because your relationship, how you started is how it ends.
Yes.
It's like it, and you already started this shit kind of lying to me. You know what I mean? So I just couldn't respect it, because now look what I'm going through. Now I wake up to being called a home wrecker, all that shit. Now I had to make videos about it, try to turn everything, and that's one thing I do. I'll get into some shit, and I'll try. How I get through it is I'll make it funny.
So unfortunately for her, in her situation, what happened is now she ends up in a situation where she's being called names and being called out for being a homewrecker, when that isn't the truth, and you've left her being uncovered. So in reality, this is Kountry Wayne. She hasn't said anything that's even negative. And listen, if you listen to this whole interview about how she talks about a relationship, you don't really hear a tone of her dogging him. Right? Now, of course, the reason why they're going to ask her about relationships is because how women and men are valued, okay? Men are often not valued by them getting married. They're not valued by the ring that they're wearing. They're valued by the achievements that they make. So yes, when you go into an interview, they ain't always going to ask about your marriage because it's not as important. That's not how men are valued in society. They are valued by their achievements. So you can't compare yourself to her as to why they keep asking her questions, because women are often valued and given a sense of value in society due to, do you have a ring? Do you have a man? That's how they're often valued, and that's also how they're often criticized. So when Kountry Wayne is comparing himself to Jess, it's an incorrect comparison. Now it's kind of interesting because part of their relationship, the reason why it was also faltering, is the competitive nature of it. Listen to this.
Cause I'm like, yeah, nigga, I make more than you. Like I let him be on this house for a while, and Wayne is so competitive. I'm like, okay, and at first it was cool, it was cute. I'm like, okay, I got a nigga that's like, okay, challenging. All right, cool. We wanted to go on tour together. It was gonna be called Best of Both Worlds. You know, he's a clean comic. I'm dirty. I'm raw. I'm Baltimore. He's church. He's Bill Cosby. Well, before the charges, you know.
So clearly they have a different way of doing things, right? But what was said there was that their competitive nature. And I'm going to do a deep dive on this because, again, it seems it's coming up. This is the same thing that happened with Simone Biles and her husband's situation. And he mentioned that he's a catch in the situation too. We're back here again. So we'll do a deep dive on that conversation. But the reality of the situation is this. This situation where you got Kountry Wayne and Jess, they are... I understand why he might feel like she should stop talking about it, but then they're gonna always ask her because not just because you're not bigger or not because she's bigger, but simply because women are valued by their relationships. Now, clearly, listen, if Beyonce breaks up with Jay-Z, I'm telling you now, the next 5-10 years they're gonna be asking her. So what happened with Jay-Z? What went wrong? They're gonna keep on asking that. When Jehovah comes in, they're gonna be sorry. I say Jehovah. I don't even like saying that name. That's the blasphemies. When Jay comes in. And comes into the scenario, they're going to be talking about his achievements because how men and women are often valued. That doesn't mean they won't ask him about the relationship. What it means is they'll find more things to talk about because men are valued by what they achieve rather than just what they are having a ring or who they're in love with. Simple thing. Watch out for our deep dive. We'll do that probably to drop it tomorrow for you guys. I want to go deeper onto Jess Halarious and Kountry Wayne and where it went wrong because I think it was really some things that were said that were really interesting. So like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification on uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked. Stay low. We'll see you again very soon.